Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So we just talked about the Incredible Hulk 417, the secret of the bachelor party, and now we're talking about She-Hulk getting engaged. And this was in 2006 and 2007. It was during the Civil War storyline, which that's like an incredible storyline. It spanned like so far in the Marvel universe, and I mean, they did that. They based the movie off of, Civil War off of the Civil War storyline, but the movie doesn't even begin to cover it. Doesn't even begin to compare to the storyline. But anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. That's another video. Anyway, moving on. So, Pug, who is a lawyer in the same firm that Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, works at, he was going over footage and stuff, and he found like something. So, like here is videotape of him watching, and you see She-Hulk and John, and like they just meet. Jonah Jameson's J. Jonah Jameson's son, and you see them meet, and you see Star Fox is also there. And so Pug thinks that Star Fox affected their feelings because he has the euphoric powers. And so he thinks that they were affected by that, and that's why they started dating and then fell in love. And anyway, so you have this where you see, that Spider-Man revealed his identity as Peter Parker and that he's been Spider-Man since he was 15. And then, of course, you see J. Jonah Jameson having a cow because he's like, oh my gosh, Parker, like my Parker was Spider-Man this whole time. Like, and he would even give me pictures of Spider-Man. I paid for these. I mean, basically, he's losing it. He's just having a cow. And then you see on the next page that apparently John Jameson and She-Hulk took his Air Force, because he's a colonel, aircraft to Vegas and eloped and got married. And then you see everyone. There's J. Jonah Jameson, the dad, Pug, the lawyer friend, Wasp, Doc Samson, like all these other characters, like they're spitting out whatever they're drinking because they're shocked. Because it was very, like I said, they dated, but they weren't dating that long. And all of a sudden they're married already. And so the phone rings, and you know, Jin's like, is anything wrong? And she's like, if you get in trouble with the Air Force, I'm a really good lawyer. I can get you out of it. And he's like, it's not the Air Force, honey. It's worse. It's my dad. And you see J. Jonah Jameson just like cussing his son out because he's like, are you kidding me? A daughter-in-law, green, superhero, lawyer? Are you kidding me? Basically, he's like, you're making me look like an idiot because everyone knows of his dislike of superheroes, even though it's ironic because his son is actually Man-Wolf. And that's a complicated, long story, but anyway. So they get dressed, like they're going to go meet his parents, have dinner with his parents. And John's like, do you want to change? She's like, you don't like the dress? And he's like, no, I mean change, like into Jennifer Walters. And she says, I'm not changing. I decided to stay She-Hulk. I'm not switching back and forth anymore. I'm just going to stay She-Hulk. And he's like, what are you talking about? Why would you spring this on me now? And she says, I've been She-Hulk for like a week now. And only She-Hulk. I didn't spring it on you. So basically, Pug, her friend from the law firm, leaves her a message and says, hey, I need to talk to you. Come down to the club, this club. We need to talk. So there he is. You see her go down to the club. And basically, he's like, look, you're under a spell. You're not really in love with John. Like, I know this, I love you. And she's like, I care about you as a friend, but that's it. And then you see her blow this pink bubble, and you're like, what the heck? And you see, it's Ditto. He also works for the law firm. And he's just trying to save his friend Pug from like all this heartache and rejection, because of course confessing your love to someone right before they get married or right after they get married, that never works. I mean, only in the really feel-good movies does it actually like work out for the person, and even then. So these next two panels I love, or pages, because I mean, look at it, it's great. So they're having dinner, and it's awkward. So She-Hulk is like, so Marla, how did you and Jonah meet? And Marla's like, well, funny story. He asked me to build spider slayers to kill Spider-Man. And she's like, She-Hulk says, oh, I mean, what do you say to that, considering you yourself are a superhero? Anyway. And Jameson says, Spider-Man. For a while, I thought Johnny, his son, was Spider-Man. And John's like, I really don't see why you would think that. You've seen us like in the same place multiple times. And Jameson says, I had pictures. I paid Parker $5 million for pictures of Spider-Man in a suit, unmasking. And then he's like, Parker. Just like thinking about it, like, he's like, so how did he do it? Photoshop? What? And John's like, well, actually, he asked me for a favor, so I put the suit on. And of course his dad's like, you posed for him? Are you serious? And then Marla is like, John, be nice. Or Jonah, be nice. This is, Jin's first time here. I mean, and he's like, why should I be nice? And he's like, she says, well, because that woman's going to be the mother of your grandchildren someday. And you just see him lose it. Oh, I mean, granted, like, as a parent, if your son or daughter was dating someone that was like ginormous and green, and you thought of grandchildren, you might lose it too. But he goes up into the attic, it looks like the attic, and activates his spider slayer, but now he says it's a She-Hulk slayer. Because he just, like, he snapped. And of course, She-Hulk, she makes quick work of it. And then she goes up, gives it back to him, and says, come over here, Dad. I want to give you a hug. And then he says, just try, you Jade Jezebel. Oh. And John's like, I hope she doesn't kill him. And then Marla says, I hope he doesn't kill her. And they're like, what? Anyway, so, and then, like, on the next page, Jonah goes into this rant, like, this has all been, like, just a scheme, just to try to get me to break, just try to, like, get me shipped off to some nut house. And Jen's like, what are you talking about? There's no way Spidey's shielded from the act of fraud he pulled on you. And because, the Amnesty Act, if you unmask and register with the government, you're, absolved of your crimes, like, or past deeds as a superhero. And then Jonah's like intrigued, like, what are you talking about? What fraud? And she said the $5 million photo he sold you of someone he knew wasn't Spider-Man, because of course he was Spider-Man. She's like, you could sue him for everything he's got. And Jonah's like, but Parker has nothing, so what would I sue him for? And Jen is like, well, that fancy high-tech suit he has, is it worth at least $8 million? And he's like, oh my gosh. And so now they're all good. See, now he's like, oh, this is great. And John's like, Jen, what are you doing? And she says, don't worry, I can keep this tied up in the courts for years, if it ever even makes it there. But you see Jonah, he's like, oh, what a day. And so it's one of those, cute, goofy, funny issues. I don't know. I like those because they're more real. You can, I mean, they have some aspect of like human relationships in them, and of course we can all relate to that. And it's actually interesting because Pug was actually right when he said, you know, to Jen, hey, this is not real. This was Star Fox's powers like affecting you guys. But of course, no one wants to hear that when they're actually like in love, or they think they're in love. But anyway, and so, but you know, in the next, it says in the next issue, John turns into the man wolf again. So you go through all that, and like I said, superhero relationships are like soap operas. They're always super complicated. Like people, eventually they get the marriage annulled, but like I said, it's always super complicated because they have to make it super complicated otherwise. Anyway, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will join me in the future for more videos. Until next time, bye.